Hey, think about this. Jon Jones, for as good as he is, he has one loss. Why? He made a mistake. Khabib never made a mistake. He went through this whole thing.
And Khabib domination.
Dominate.
Jon close fights.
But he never made any mistake. Never got himself disqualified, never got caught in a submission, he made no mistakes. 29 times to walk to that octagon against the best guys in the world and win 29 times. I don't even really know why more people don't share this opinion. Because George St. Pierre, George St. Pierre has 2 or 3 losses.
Real.
Yeah. Demetrius Johnson, one of the greatest, he has losses. This guy never lost.
Cejudo lost.
Cejudo, everybody lost. He never lost.
When your son saw the whole story of the conflict, did he develop a dislike for Jon?
My kid's at an age now where he can start to form opinions. Kids are starting to get on social media, so he understands the entire history. He also recognizes that there are some things that just don't align. I think he finds comfort in that. His dad, he saw his dad lose to Stipe Miocic in person, and he cried bad. That broke his heart. But when he thinks of the Jon Jones story, he looks at it, and it's everywhere. And he's like, well, Dad, why did this happen? And why did this happen? And why did this happen?
Do you talk with your son about Jon?
When he was going into, when he was growing, why did you and Jon Jones not fight at UFC 200? Well, there was a positive test, son. We weren't able to fight. It's like those types of questions, right? Like, why this? Why this? The story just didn't add up to him when he was at that age that he would ask. When he's like 12, 11, he's asking these questions, and the story just didn't add up. Because to him, these fighters are superheroes, right? He gets to see Khabib in our house and see Max Holloway and these guys are superheroes. But why, in that story, you set the fight, you go to fight, you go, whoever wins, wins, whoever loses, loses. That's the story. But he just can see now with Jon and I's story, there's a lot of different things attached to. You don't have to look far for it.
I've known you for literally 2 or 3 weeks. And I've noticed that you're a very genuine person, who you are in every moment. I wanted to ask, you didn't say hello to Jon at the villa. You clearly don't like him, and you say he's not real. Why? How did you figure that out?
There's a lot of things that I feel, right? But he's not my friend. Right? I don't need to shake his hand. It's like, what's that do, right? As we go forward in our lives, I'm not losing sleep over those things anymore. Like, I don't hate him to the point that I want to charge at him and fight with him. I just don't see no need to make nice. We can, and talk and be cordial and be professional. But to be shaking hands and hugging and being buddies, I don't think that's our reality. It won't happen. It's okay though. Everybody thinks everybody believes that when the dust settles and the rivalry is over, you're supposed to go and everything be fine. That's not the case. He can live his life as he wants to, and I can do the same. We don't have to be friends with each other.
Specific feelings when you were competing against Jon and you were winning 2-0 in rounds and went to your corner. What feelings did you have? You're leading 2-0.
Which fight? The second fight? When he kicked me.
2 rounds you win.
Well, listen, it was a fight that we trained for, but the one thing I've learned is this kid continues to evolve. His mind is always thinking. And sometimes there's some too much comfort in success. And that's why he got me. But he did a great job of setting everything up. You know, Jon Jones is a lot of things to me. But one thing I always will is respect his fighting ability. Because I was in there with him. I was in there with a lot of guys, great fighters. But none of them were like him. None of them were like him. Just his fight IQ is very high, but he's very tough. Like, I hit him so hard, so many times, and he always just fought back. He would get tired, he would fight back.
Daniel Cormier was not holding back while talking about Jon Jones and let out one of his most brutal statements ever against his old nemesis, believing him to be beneath Khabib Nurmagomedov. Considering their long history of animosity, which has made each encounter personal for both of them, Cormier made it very clear that his views against Jon Jones have not changed over the years. These statements were loaded with the baggage of their years of rivalry, reviving one of the biggest rivalries in the history of this game. And he didn't just stop at Jon Jones, he had opinions about other fighters too.
Why did God make Jones win? What do you think?
I don't know. I think it was just his time. Like I said, the cross to bear is never too heavy. It just was not my time to live in that moment. I needed that. I needed to be, I don't know, maybe I needed to be humbled for something. I don't know. You have to just have faith and then know that something better is coming. And it ultimately did. Look, my story included losing that night, right? Feeling almost like a weight was like released. Like, okay, this Jon Jones chapter of my life is finished. We're done. I go to Hawaii with my family. I'm going to relax, and I'm just going to get away from everything. And then I get the call that he was in trouble. That was just another part of my journey. I needed to go through that embarrassment of crying in the octagon after I lost. I had to steady myself. I needed to go home and try to steady myself to be a strong influence on my children, to show people that even in the darkest times, still be okay.
When your son saw the whole story of the conflict, did he develop a dislike for Jon?
My kid's at an age now where he can start to form opinions. Kids are starting to get on social media, so he understands the entire history. He also recognizes that there are some things that just don't align. I think he finds comfort in that. His dad, he saw his dad lose to Stipe Miocic in person, and he cried bad. That broke his heart. But when he thinks of the Jon Jones story, he looks at it, and it's everywhere. And he's like, well, Dad, why did this happen? And why did this happen? And why did this happen?
Do you talk with your son about Jon?
When he was going into, like, when he was growing, why did you and Jon Jones not fight at UFC 200? Well, there was a positive test, son. We weren't able to fight. It's like those types of questions, right? Like, why this? Why this? The story just didn't add up to him when he was at that age that he would ask. When he's like 12, 11, he's asking these questions, and the story just didn't add up. Because to him, these fighters are superheroes, right? He gets to see Khabib in our house and see Max Holloway and all, like, just these guys are superheroes. But why, in that story, you set the fight, you go to fight, you go, whoever wins, wins, whoever loses, loses. That's the story. But he just can see now with Jon and I's story, there's a lot of different things attached to. You don't have to look far for it.
While Cormier had no shortage of harsh words regarding Jon Jones, there was also the element of stepping back to evaluate how the whole thing contributed to his overall journey in the UFC. Going through all of his setbacks and struggles that he had been through in the course of his career, DC made it clear that everything he went through brought him closer to something better. Whether it was losing to some of the greatest wrestlers in the world or having a tough loss to Jones, nothing held him down. On the contrary, everything just made him stronger and more determined.
Sabes, cuando hablas de estos chicos, cuando hablas de Khabib, él trabajó más duro que nadie. Simplemente trabajó. Y es un tipo muy talentoso, pero trabajó. Todo lo que pasas te lleva a algún lugar. Cada vez desde el torneo de la NCAA, perder contra Kyle Sanderson, que fue el mejor luchador en la historia de los deportes universitarios, perder contra Gatsalov en las semifinales olímpicas, perder contra Jones, todo te prepara para un momento determinado. Ese momento ya está aquí. Solo tienes que encontrar el camino hacia él. Para mí, ese momento fue ganar mi segundo cinturón y poder sentarme y decir, oh Dios mío, a pesar de todo esto, de verdad, todo lo que he hecho finalmente a casi 40 años, tengo la mejor noche de mi vida en este deporte. Mi camino fue diferente. Mi camino tuvo altibajos, giros y vueltas. Tuve que dejarme llevar, no rendirme y simplemente seguir trabajando. Creo que sí, estoy de acuerdo. Todo pasará. La cuestión es cómo llegar allí. El camino de
Cormier continued by elaborating on what he believes is the darkest chapter in his career, how his defeat at the hands of Jon Jones marked a major turning point in his life. Losing a match to someone who he absolutely detested was crushing for him, but rather than letting the defeat define him, DC chose to use the misery to drive himself forward. According to him, it was essential for him to have experienced such a dark phase in his life in order for all things to fall into place for him. It did not take long after that, because at the age of 39 years, Cormier became a champion once again.
que suceder. Sí, necesitaba esa oscuridad para poder vivir el año 2018, cuando volví a ganar ese cinturón en enero y me convertí en campeón de peso pesado. Piensa en eso. Siempre dicen que la noche es más oscura justo antes de la luz. Ese fue mi momento más oscuro. Perder contra una persona a la que no soportaba, justo antes de tener el mejor año de mi carrera a los 39 años.
And Cormier's insight regarding his loss, on the other hand, became even more personal as he revealed something about one of the hardest times for him after the fight. The loss was hard to swallow on its own, but having to go back home and see his little boy made it even more difficult. In those days, his kids were too small to be at his bouts, and every morning his son asked the same question: did his dad win? But since he lost against Jones, DC was not able to turn around and face him. Listening to his son asking the question, DC admitted he remained turned, not being able to say that today his father lost.
Esta resultó ser muy posiblemente la conversación de mi vida. Cuando peleé con Jones y los suyos, aún no dejaba que mis hijos fueran a las peleas. Eran demasiado pequeños. Mi hijo tenía solo 6 años. Pensaba que era demasiado pequeño para llevarlo a las peleas. Así que se quedaban con su niñera y cada vez que yo peleaba, a la mañana siguiente mi hijo preguntaba: ¿Papá ganó? ¿Papá ganó? Era lo primero que preguntaba siempre. Eran las 6 de la mañana cuando escuché: ¿Papá ganó? Y recuerdo que estaba allí en la cama y me sentía tan avergonzado que simplemente dormía de espaldas a él. Su mamá, mi hija y yo estábamos todos juntos en la misma cama y podía oírle claramente preguntarle a su madre: ¿Papá ganó? Pero la verdad es que yo ya estaba despierto, ¿sabes? Pero aún así seguía allí de espaldas, porque no quería decepcionarlo en absoluto, no quería que me viera, no quería girarme hacia él y tener que decirle que no lo había logrado. ¿Sabes a lo que me refiero? Y él estaba tan... Pero los niños tienen esa capacidad.
But even though that traumatic event proved to the world the impact that this loss had on him personally, DC soon got back to the person at the root of all of it. Discussing the topic of Jon Jones once more, DC made it known that he still had not changed his stance on his arch rival. Even though he admitted that Jones was one of the best fighters the sport has ever seen, he found himself wondering whether or not Jones was a true fighter. By analyzing their initial interactions and the way Jones interacts with other people, DC brought his point across quite clearly.
Me di cuenta al observar el programa que Jon, de manera constante, a veces era amable contigo e intentaba hacer algunas pequeñas bromas, pero tú te mantuviste muy firme en tu postura inicial. Realmente me gustó mucho que no estuvieras dispuesta a traicionar tus principios bajo ninguna circunstancia. Dime, ¿cuáles son los motivos que te hacen pensar que Jon no es alguien realmente auténtico?
No lo sé, creo que nuestra primera interacción fue muy rara con el comentario de la lucha y llevó a todo esto. Y creo que ahora que lo he visto interactuar con la gente, creo que hay un nivel de... Es uno de los mejores peleadores de la historia, uno de los hombres más peligrosos que han pisado este planeta. Pero creo que todos tenemos nuestras propias inseguridades personales. A veces, cuando la gente tiene pequeñas inseguridades, estas suelen salir de formas muy extrañas y creo que eso es precisamente lo que le pasa a él. Probablemente intenta
DC further emphasized his opinion about Jones by declaring that he is not under the impression that the friendly aspect of Jones that comes up every now and then is the real deal. As per DC, Jones might come across as being friendly to others, but according to DC's past history and interactions with him, he has never really believed that the act is real. DC also acknowledged the fact that he knew for a fact that Jones does not like him, but added that it was absolutely okay with him. DC firmly believed that after all the events that had transpired, there was no denying the fact that there was real animosity between them. Cormier then moved the discussion from his personal rivalry with Jones to focus on the rivalry between Khabib and Conor McGregor. When comparing the two cases, DC gave his reasoning for why he feels that McGregor had gone too far by crossing an irrevocable line. In DC's opinion, the rivalry was much deeper than mere trash talk, since McGregor dragged the family, religion, and faith of Khabib into the rivalry. Being aware of the importance of all the three mentioned above for Khabib and his crew, DC believed those comments couldn't have been easily ignored. He continued by explaining why, despite the hatred between himself and Jones, their situation was still different from the feud between Khabib and Conor. DC said his entire team shares his feelings toward Jones, yet they were still able to put those emotions aside and work around him when necessary. In contrast, he believes McGregor's actions went far beyond what could simply be forgiven or ignored. According to Cormier, the things McGregor said and did damaged his relationship with Khabib's circle beyond repair, leaving no room for reconciliation and ensuring that the bitterness between them remains deeply personal to this day. Then Cormier opened up about his close relationship with Khabib, making it clear that their friendship goes far beyond fighting and the UFC. Although they first met years ago, DC said his connection with Khabib feels much deeper, almost as if they have known each other their entire lives. Cormier spoke with genuine affection for his longtime friend, describing him as one of the most caring people he has ever met. He also made it clear that his loyalty to Khabib runs incredibly deep, saying he would do almost anything for him. For Cormier, their bond is built on trust, respect, and genuine brotherhood. Cormier continued by explaining that his friendship with Khabib remains strong even though they are not constantly on the phone with each other. The two stay in touch through messages, but DC said the best moments come when they are able to spend time together in person. He also highlighted the way Khabib treats the people around him, describing him as someone who genuinely cares about his friends and team. For Cormier, that generosity is only part of what makes their relationship so special. Above all, DC believes Khabib is one of the most authentic people he has ever known, which is why their friendship has remained so meaningful over the years. Moreover, Cormier gave his picks for some of the best stand-up fighters in MMA, separating pure technique from overall offensive ability. He praised Ilia Topuria for having the sharpest boxing skills, while Alex Pereira earned DC's nod as the most complete striker because of everything he can bring to the cage. Cormier also highlighted the fighters he believes possess elite kicking and striking abilities, showing just how highly he rates the sport's current generation. And when it came to pure entertainment, there was little debate for DC, as Justin Gaethje's remarkable record of earning bonuses throughout his UFC career made him an obvious choice. Do you agree with Cormier's views on Jones, or is their rivalry influencing his perspective? Share your thoughts below and subscribe.